Hey everybody, so I'm doing a very impromptu pen sketch. I just felt like making something. I've not been able to concentrate on creating anything good. And I thought I just felt like coming live. So here I am. Let's see, I don't know how many people will join in, but in another 2 or 3 minutes I start creating. What I'm doing is an impromptu pen sketch. And hello everybody. So I don't know who's going to come in because I was not planning to come live, but then I just felt like doing something. So we'll see what I'll show you what I'm making though. I have been searching some references and let me just see where that photo goes. Okay, this is what we're going to be creating today, and I'll do it in pen. Then if I feel like and there's time, then maybe I might just shift to watercolors also. Otherwise, of course, we'll just do a pen work. I haven't been coming live, I know, this month, but I'll be just trying to figure out what needs to be done, how to go about, like after putting in so much effort also, since Instagram did not really promote, so I need to figure out a better strategy to work with. But yeah, if you guys want to create along, get your papers, get your pens. I'll wait for a minute. You can get your fine liners, you can work with pencils, and if you want to color, of course, you're most welcome to. So I hope everybody is doing well. I'll probably start. Alright, just let me know in the comments if you'll have any issues or you all can't see something or anything. Yeah, just 1 second. Just give me a second, guys. I'll just arrange and right, this is what we're going to be making today. So I hope you all are all also going to just create along. I know it's a very random thing that I'm doing. Hello everybody, hello. Hi Shalini, hi Snigdha. Alright guys, let's start. If you all want, I will be talking in between, but I'm not really teaching, but of course I guess when I'm doing it's going to happen. I'm taking a 0.2 micron pen and just figuring out where to start from. So say I'm just marking the rooftop so I know where we're going to end. Alright, so just starting with a small V kind of a surface. Okay guys, if you want to create along, you can sketch along with me. I'll show you the reference again in a minute. And even if you all don't want to, I'll probably save the live again on IGTV. So how have you guys been doing? What's been happening? How are you all having any celebrations going on, festivals going on? Hi Tulika. Alright, so we just made a V as the roof. So there's a sketch challenge by R. Lopez Sketch, which is quite famous. So, a lot of people have recreated this, and I kind of like it because it's got doors and very archaic kind of structure. So let's see. Alright, so guys, if you all want to create along, you can do it with a pencil, or you can just, of course, sketch along with me with a pen. Everybody is going to be celebrating. A lot of people are going to be celebrating today and tomorrow and day after, of course. Right, so this is just under the roof. What I'm doing first is I'm just getting some boundaries. We are not doing much detailing first, but we need to know where we are. Okay, If you guys have any questions or anything you need to ask me, feel free to ask. Hi Prajakta. Again, this is just a very random impromptu decision to come live. Right, so this was the top roof area that I've just marked so that I know where we are. This is the area that we're working with. So as you can see, I marked the boundary. So now whatever I'm working is going to be underneath that. Right, so we're just going to mark a little bit of the plant area and then we start working downwards. Anybody who's drawing today? I don't expect anyone because I'm not actually informed anyone that I was coming live. So, but if you all are, that's awesome. Just marking the plants and the bushes. Right. And there is some sort of a structure here. Let me just try and see if I can zoom it. Okay, yeah. So these are the stones which are there. And there is a door here. So there are two doors. One is on the top and one is on the bottom. So we need to kind of take care of that perspective. I am planning to come up with some courses on urban sketching. Plus, there is an app called Go Social, where we just got selected as a sketch ambassador, and yeah, those things will also get announced soon. So just making a door, not a very straight door, so I'm just kind of getting that into the picture. And there is a second door here which is going to look a little more flatter, so we'll take that into consideration. So very good evening to everybody who's joining in without any prior notice. Still there's a decent number, so thank you everybody. What's been happening? Who's been creating stuff? How has Instagram been treating you all? Anybody drawing along? So we just made the roof. We made the design of the two doors. Now what happens is where this door comes, so I know that this is where the road needs to end, so I'm just marking that and drawing a rough line so that I know that this is the kind of perspective that we are going to be working on, right? Anybody who has any doubts, feel free to ask me. Again, this was not planned. I just have come in very, very randomly. Okay. So I've been trying out pen sketches also more. I mean, I used to do them quite a lot earlier. Before I used to do ink and watercolors. So let's see that whether I'll color it or not, or I'm just trying to see if I should put up a series of black and whites. Just pen works. Right, so these are some pots that are coming around, and there's like a miniature staircase kind of a thing. So we just take that into account. So how will the staircase be? We'll have to take that also into perspective, considering that this is the picture. There's sort of a well, or I don't know what is that, not a well, but sort of a big stone here. Okay, I will keep getting the reference in between. Today I don't have the third phone, so this is what we've done so far. We made this roof, we made the two doors, we marked the trees, we marked this area. Now we're starting to work in this area. Hi Amita. Alright, anybody, any questions? Somebody who's not understood something? Hi Pauravi. So this is a very weird impromptu pen sketch that I'm just trying out. Okay, because might as well, since rather than trying out alone, I might as well just come online and do it so that people can also try along. Right, so I'm just making some sort of, these are pots and flowers and plants, which again we don't need any details for. So you're just going to randomly mark some scribbles. Yeah, it's a very beautiful reference actually. That's kind of why I really liked it. Is it still seen in the screen? Yeah. Though since I haven't taken a screenshot or anything, I have to keep zooming. Right, I'm just randomly drawing some plants. And a pot. Okay. There is another pot which is behind this, so we kind of need to put it behind the staircase. Right, so this might look a little bit jumbled up because there are a lot of pots here. It doesn't really matter. You can just make some pots. So what I'm doing before I start any hatch work or any pen work, I'm just getting the entire sketch ready. I am not using any pencil. I'm just working with the pen itself. You guys are free to try out whatever you feel like doing. Anybody, any questions, guys? Anything you're not understanding so far? Anything you want to ask me? Feel free to ask. The live will be saved on IGTV, so you can try that out as well, and you can even tag the challenge person r_lopez_sketch, and there's a hashtag with it, so I'll put all of that in the IGTV, because a lot of urban sketches have done this. Right, so I'm doing a little quick work comparatively, of course. I'm not spending excessive time on this. So when you're sketching, this is the kind of speed you should also try to aim for, while taking care of the perspective and proportioning. I mean, if you all actually like urban sketching, or would you all be interested in a urban sketching program? Because I need to figure out one thing that I should concentrate on. I mean, the doors were of course there and they will always be there, but I don't know, nothing's happened post that. The illustrations are doing much better because I'm teaching them. Okay, and I'm just marking the horizon kind of a point here. This is all bush area, the road. Okay guys, so that actually completes a basic sketch where all the necessary boundaries are done. Okay, I'll repeat, I'll just show you all the reference, and our boundaries are done. So what we did, we marked the roof, we marked this area, we marked the other back part of the building, we marked the trees and the plants, we got the two doors, we got the pots, we got the staircase, we got this line which is the road going downwards, and the border of that. Alright, so according to this image, from whatever I can see, I've covered all the basic boundaries. Now I will start working with the pen and getting in details. Anybody, any questions? Anybody who wants to ask me something? I don't know who all are here and who's creating or who's actually making along. So I'll give you guys 1 minute to ask me if there are any questions, or else I will proceed. Alright, so since there are no questions, I'll start working on the roof. So the first thing for the roof, we'll get some tile effect in, or the roof effect in. So I'm just making these kind of strokes. Can you see this? So automatically we'll look like there is something underneath the roof. Okay, so whoever is joining in now, we are doing a pen sketch. I'm getting some leaves and trees inside. We're not going to get too much detail into the plants and all that, that's not required, but of course we're just going to get some sort of strokes and hashes inside. So you see how I'm just moving my pen in some strokes and some direction. So the idea is to get the effect of plants, but not get too much into the hassles of it, right? So now this looks like a small tree, or looks like a bush, right? And because this is behind, so we need to add a little more depth to it by creating some more strokes to this one, right? Hi Amrita. So how is the bush so far? All clear? Any questions? I've never made a sky with pen, so I don't know if it's actually done, but as far as I know, nobody does that. But if somebody knows how to do that, you can suggest to me. Good evening. Yes, unless Instagram gives me an issue, of course the live will be saved, and you guys can also try this along, because this is an urban sketch challenge by somebody. So in fact people will be able to see your work also much more likelihood. Right now I'm just getting some tiles on the roof. Okay, so you can see I'm just making some kind of curvatures here, some a little nearby, some a little bit distant, and in between I'll just give a little bit of this hash stroke. Okay, just a little of this stroke so that it looks more realistic. Okay, yeah, actually the clouds are made by hashing. I'm just kidding, I also know, but I don't think it'll look very nice in this particular scenario because there's a lot of work coming here. But thank you for that suggestion. Right, same thing, I'm going to get these tiles, these roof markings here, and you can see I'm just, whatever is dark, I will start making that darker right now itself. I'm not going to wait for the entire painting to the entire sketch to get done. I'm going to start working and creating that instantly. Okay, I just missed the last comment about the urban. What's the name of the urban sketch challenge? It's some something in Spanish or something. It's a little house in Terranes in Ponga National Park. There's a hashtag called Dibujan do Castar Neres. I'll just maybe add it to the story on my story after we finish this, so that everybody knows where we are. Right now, whatever is light, I won't really leave, add a lot of details to it. Under that, of course, where I want the shadow, I'm going to start hashing there. So here I want the shadow to come in, so I'm going to get these strokes in that area, right? So all this is going to be a shadow, so I'm just going to add all these strokes here. So automatically what the strokes do, they start giving depth. Hi Ravi, hi Atli, yours. Okay, and there are these bricks, so I'm going to get these effects of bricks across, some dark, some light. So I don't need to create all the bricks, but I need to be a little more giving the effect that the bricks are there. Okay, so as you can see, by doing this much itself, it starts looking like there is some depth to this. Is everybody clear so far? Anybody who's not understood what I did right now? Okay. So I'm just completing from the left to right so that it's easier to work. Nothing particular in that sense, but since I'm doing a live where I can't move anything, so it's just easier to work here. There's also a bush kind of a surface here. And there are some rocks here, so we'll just get those rocks in. Now especially in the rocks, between the rocks you're going to get some amount of depth, and the rest is just going to give a little bit of hatching. Hatching are basically the strokes that you're giving with the pen. The amount of pressure you give it, the direction that you give it in, that determines the kind of effect that you want to create. And it's about being very loose with it. You don't need to really get when you're doing this kind of sketch, don't try to get too much detail in, or try to think about whether it's exactly how it's supposed to be. It's more about trying to get the entire picture together. Okay, so leaving some dots, leaving some strokes. Again, the subject is here, so I won't be focusing extra everywhere, but we need to of course finish it so that it looks more uniform. And wherever it's you want to get something in the front, you keep it lighter. Okay, so can you all see that effect is starting to come in? Okay, it's going to look much better once we actually finish the sketch. Okay, this is just to get some effect that there are stones there, right? Thank you. Okay, same thing underneath this. I'm just going to get a little bit of this hatch work done. Now here I'm going to keep very light hatches because it's sort of a lighter area. I'm going to continue this with that same kind of effect. Right? So I hope you guys can see with one pen. Okay, all of this is still getting done with only one pen. I've not changed the pen. In fact, if I change the pen, I can add more depth into it and get better strokes, but I'm just showing you even with one pen all of this is possible. Right? And here of course we're going to add a little bit of these kind of hatches. The reason we are doing this is of course to get some depth in. So can you see now this looks a little bit deeper just by adding these little bit pen lines. Automatically this looks a little bit behind. Yeah. Anybody who's not understanding or has some question, please feel free to ask. Hi Dimple, good to see you. How have you been? Your son's really grown up quite a lot. Okay, so I'm getting some of these random stones effect inside. Thank you, Artist Creation. So I'm just seeing if the response to these kind of works is also good, not good, let me see. So I understand what kind of works to focus on. So do you guys prefer illustrations, or do you prefer these kind of sketches? Do you prefer only the door paintings? Why I'm asking is because obviously I'm working on those lines only, but I get some idea on how to plan my content also, and get some idea on how to get more exposure. Right, so I'm adding these markings with the pen. Okay, all good so far. Anybody who wants to ask me something or has a question, I'll just wait for 2 minutes. I'll just pause and I'll answer any questions if you all have. Okay, same thing, I'm just adding a little depth here so that it looks distinct from the roof. Can you see this? So now you can see the roof as well. Now this I want to make it as dark, okay, because I want the effect of light to come there. Ravi, that's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Okay. And just getting a little bit of this depth in the roof area, and then we start working downwards, okay? So getting some stones, so we're going to get the effect of stones now. Again, these are all random stones, so don't worry about getting any details right now, but first just fill the entire area with these stones, and then we start doing the hatch work, okay? For those who are joining in now, this is the reference that I'm working from. It's a challenge by R. Lopez sketch with some hashtag called Dibujandokastaranes, which I don't know what it means. But yeah. Yes, according to me also, black and white sketches have their own beauty. Thank you, Anjali. But I try and mix and match the kind of work I do also. So like illustrations are also something I really enjoy making because they're very free. So I've sort of now narrowed down my work in that aspect. Like now I don't try to create too many other things. Right, so I'm just making all these door stones. You'll keep some stones a little lighter maybe, and some you'll keep darker. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much. I was in your live and I saw that beautiful woman with the floral patterns, and they were amazing. I mean, I'd seen the painting also, so I know it was just brilliant, but actually seeing it live was another experience. Okay, thank you, Tanu. Right, so guys, I'm just sort of making the rocks at the moment. Right now there's nothing else that's happening. Now as I go down, I'm slightly reducing the pressure on the pen, if you can realize, because I want to keep it more and more lighter as we go this side. Okay, I've not started the door, I've not made anything in the other sides. We've just finished this much of the area. Now we start working this area, and lastly here. This is actually a workshop kind of an artwork probably, but since I was doing it any which way, so I thought let me just come live and do it. Right, very random again, and as you can see, I'm still not making the strokes. I'll start making the strokes very soon. Now here I'll even go even lighter. I'll just get the effect that there is some marking. I won't actually try and even join the lines. Right, so that completes the sketch in this much of an area. Now let's start working with the door. So looking at the door, it's very black, which means I definitely need to highlight and highlight the other areas and keep this sufficiently dark. So let me start with the hatching. Okay, so a good idea here would be to shift to a larger pen, because it's a very big area to finish, and I'll be wasting a lot of time if I just work with the smaller pen. Not that I cannot, but it will just take a lot of time, right? So I've shifted to a 0.8, so that gives me more depth, and lesser strokes will still give me the same kind of an effect, right? So what I'm doing first, guys, is I'm just adding the vertical strokes. Before adding any other stroke, I'm adding the vertical stroke, and between the pots, wherever I need to make it dark, I'm making that dark initially, right? I repeat, this is the first stroke that I'm doing, which is only in the vertical direction, leaving the plant area empty. Now there are 2-3 options that you can try. One is a diagonal kind of a hash. Okay, again, in some areas it's going to be lighter, so you need to kind of plan that in advance. Okay, same thing over here, or you can slightly just go a little diagonally. And get the cross hatch effect. I am using the Brustro fine liners. Right now I'm using a 0.8. First I was using a 0.2, but since this is a bigger area, I just shifted to this pen, so that's easier to work with. Okay. Okay, awesome, guys, all okay. Now I'm just adding a little bit of depth here also, because there is something here. Only for the doors I have taken this, because it's the darkest area, right? The pen nib does not determine the darkness, it just determines the width of the strokes, so it makes it easier to work in a darker area. Okay. Yes, Inktober is coming. This time I want to see if I can actually, I've never participated in Inktober, you know, so I want to see if I do it this time. Let's see. Okay, I'm working on the second door. Same thing, I will start working with the vertical strokes. Now here I'll keep more vertical strokes because it's almost in this direction, right? And I leave a little space in between, just to give the effect that the wood is sort of, you know, lighter in that area. So just if you'll carefully see, once it's a little darker, you'll see that effect. And the reason I'm keeping only vertical kind of strokes here is it'll give a more woody kind of an effect here. So there's no right or wrong on how you make it, according to my understanding. It's about trying. Hi Vinny. Okay, and that will give you this nice door. You can see this nice effect that's come in between also, so it looks like there's a wooden panel, or you know, but there is some space, right? And the top portions, we'll make them of course a little lighter because they are slightly grayer. We don't want it to be as dark as the black area, otherwise it won't be seen. right? So you can see by the control that I have on my pen also the effect that I'm giving. Okay, so I don't really do pencil shading since I don't remember when. I need to get back to that as well, but because I've since long working with fine liners only, so I have better control. So you can now see this part of the door, right? Can you all see the effect that's come in? Is it clear enough? Do I need to zoom in or something? You guys have not told me anything today, probably because I've not prepared, but still. Now I just finish this much of the area and then we'll move forward. Okay, so now getting the pots in order. Again, I'll make the pots in such a way that I get depth in between the pots so that the pots are clearly seen, right? So when I add these dark strokes in between the pots, you guys know that these are the areas where the pots are there. Thank you so much. Right, and we'll add, now I've taken the smaller pen. With that I'm just adding a little strokes in the pots and some in the bushes. Okay, but in the pots I'm going to draw these kind of strokes for the simplest reason that it will look like there's something there. And on the staircase I'll do a little horizontal strokes, slight horizontal strokes. So by changing the direction of this, the strokes also, I am getting the effect that there are multiple things involved here. Again, this is quite far, so we don't need to get all the details in it. I am using Brustro fine liners. I used a 0.2 and I used the 0.8. Okay, and I'm just adding these grasses with the thicker pen. Again, this is so that we can complete this area before we just sort of move to the other area. I'm using thicker pens again because they're easier to work with when you want to get these kind of effects, but if you want a smaller, finer effect, then you should select the smaller pen. Okay, this is the road, so I'm just making the road. So the same thing applies when I use brushes also. I usually just use two brushes, one thick brush and one thinner brush, because they do the job. Same way, even here I often just use two pens. The reason being that it kind of just makes the job easier. Okay, then there is something over here which I don't know, it's like a well, or not a well actually, it's probably a storage kind of a rock, but we need to get that also in place. So getting some strokes on it, and here we get a little horizontal kind of stroke. Okay, so that's how we've got this kind of an effect, adding some just random strokes around, and a little bit of the road I'm just marking with some horizontal lines. Okay, actually diagonal, not horizontal, but just to get the effect that there is depth on the road. Okay, all clear guys? Are you all enjoying the live? And is the effect of the pen starting to come in? So these are just some random strokes, not that they particularly need to be done or something, but we want to kind of get some effect onto the paper, so we do give these kind of strokes. This is the road, so those strokes of course need to come in. So I don't think I have done a pen live, right? Have I done a pen live before? Like just a pen sketch. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't, but then right. So now I'm just going to start doing the hash work. Okay, so this side of course we'll keep a little darker, and underneath the roof we're going to keep it a little darker. And as we move forward, we're going to start making the hashes much more lighter. So here I'm just taking some longer ones, giving a little strokes in between. And just some random hashes here. Yeah, mandala and door is yeah. So yeah, so I've done a door, right? Yeah, that's how, Amita, you even know me, right? So the door was done on a live. Thank you for reminding me that. That too was a very unplanned live. I mean, Sakshi just called. I did not even know Sakshi before that, but somehow or the other, the artist who was going to come cancelled. And Sakshi's like, are you available? And coincidentally I had just reached home like 15-20 minutes back, and I said yes, okay. I mean, I didn't know what to do, so let's do it. But yeah, so you can see how I'm just adding a little bit of these strokes, and again I'll add a little depth. And over here I'm just slightly lightening, if you guys can realize it, I'm just slightly lightening it as I go forward. So you guys can let me know if it's looking decent, not looking decent. We're almost done with it, just a little bit more, but more or less we're done with it. Thank you so much. Just adding a little bit of this hatch work just to give the stones a little life, you know. Yeah, I'll zoom in. Okay, so I hope that is zoomed in enough. Just adding some final details, like getting a little more depth on the door, on the road. Okay, and little bit on the tiles here. Okay, as such I don't really need to do more. I mean, it's pretty fairly done, but if you want on the rocks, like, you know, you can just add a little bit of this kind of strokes. Yes, so this is the reference photo that I just converted into a pen sketch. This is a challenge, an urban sketch challenge by somebody called R. Lopez Sketch. So a lot of them, I mean, have made watercolor works, but I just sort of decided to do an ink work. Okay, just see, now I'm just giving these little bit of strokes in between just to get some depth and some effect of, you know, some texture to it. But I think we're pretty okay now. The rock is looking good. This is also standing out. Right, so let me sign this, of course. And I think that's a pretty decent result. You guys can let me know. No, I don't plan to color this one. I am planning to keep it black and white. That's why the amount of strokes that I've given in the pen. If I was going to color it, I wouldn't use so many strokes. Right. So that's that. No, of course I'm not going to color this. The effect is meant to give the effect of pen. Only my door is a little bit crooked, which I am now realizing because I was sitting. That's okay. So that's it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the live sketch that I just did today. This is what we just created. I again do not know whether it's great, not great, or whatever it is, but this is what I have made. This is the original reference, and this is what we just created. How do I get inspiration for making these, or do you just sketch real life figures? So I don't do figures. I like architecture and buildings and doors and everyday objects, which are all inanimate, and I can bring them to life with my artwork. That's how I kind of enjoy converting photographs into artworks. Thank you, everybody. Sorry. So yeah, sorry for not informing you guys about me coming live, but I hope you all enjoy. Do share the live with your friends, and I'll post in a better photo maybe tomorrow, but for now I'll just keep the IGTV on my page. And I'll be announcing the Go Social thing once they tell us exactly what it is. But there is some sketching daily community, so I'm going to be monitoring that, and there are going to be some streak fests. So let's see how that also turns out to be. And yeah, so I am planning courses only now. I'm rather than planning workshops, I'm thinking of starting courses, so that gets, you know, more stable. Like I know what I'm doing. So watercolor course, pen course, urban sketching course. I mean, but you guys can give me a suggestion. Is that more sensible, or is it just workshops are better? Like courses where I actually go from beginner to teach you how I think and everything. Or even in workshops, I of course teach all that, but a little more structured format. What is better? Is a workshop better, or is a course better? You guys can just let me know, so I also can start thinking, because by next month I want to get all of that sorted. This month I'm not planned anything well enough. Thank you, Ravi. So let's see how things pan out and how things go forward. Please do share the live and the work with your friends, add it to your stories so that people can also get to see this. And yeah, I'll see all of you guys soon. I will be coming live on Go Social as soon as they tell us when. But I'm not sure. They'll probably confirm tomorrow. And Anupam, I'm coming live on Anupam on Sunday. I think 12th is Sunday. So I think Anupam, I'm coming live. How do I differentiate between a workshop and a course? A workshop is just one artwork that is taken and done maybe in one session or maximum two. Okay, Anjali. So maybe I should. I also read the cards, but I don't do it for myself. So maybe, but I should probably do it. Hi, Shalini. What's up? See, I just made this. अभी लाइव पे बनाया. But Anjali, you can probably tell me if there is some advice coming. All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night and see you all very soon. Thank you for joining in, even though I did not inform you all. Still 16 people are there, so thank you for that. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye bye. Have a good night.